What's up, fam? Hope everybody's doing fantastic out there. Today, we are taking a look at the latest from Vosteed. I apologize, I am a few, weeks late on this. A couple weeks, maybe. I don't know, but anyway, I've been extremely busy getting ready for Christmas, working a bunch of overtime and everything, so just now getting the opportunity to be able to get this video out. With that being said, I do want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. This video is actually dropping, I'm actually filming it Christmas Eve. Well, I mean, technically I'm filming it on Christmas Day because it is 1 o'clock in the morning right now, so fun of being a night shift zombie. But anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you are having a absolutely blessed day with family. Enjoy it. Our time is not guaranteed. With that being said, I also want to, send out some thoughts and prayers to the family of Randy, Randy's WSG, who very recently passed. It's unfortunate. It's something we're seeing happen a lot with some recent tragedies and stuff here in North Carolina, and there's just been a lot of death and things here recently, and it's pretty hard pills to swallow. But again, just definitely thoughts and prayers with him and with his family, that the Lord grants them comfort in the coming days, because it's never easy. So anyway, with that out of the way, I just wanted, like I said, I want to get that out there first and foremost. But let's go ahead and get into what you guys came here for. So again, the most recent release from Vosteed. This is the Corgi V. This thing has a very interesting party trick, and being that it is extremely clean looking. It doesn't have any hardware at all on the show side. Clip side, you just have the clip screws, and then the screws up here in the Vanker lock. So really nice, awesome little, and this thing is little. It's a very small knife. You're looking at a 2.36 inch blade, and then only 5.85 overall, 2.66 ounces. This is, again, the latest entry into the Vanker lock series. You can tell these guys are really nailing down the Vanker lock. How they're able to, now they're even starting to kind of shrink it in a little bit. So you can see the form factor just in the 3 here. So this is the progression of the Vanker lock. Started with the Ankylo, and then you had it in the shilling cutter, and then now in the Corgi V. Pretty interesting stuff here. They have actually shrunk it down. So this is the thinnest Vanker lock series yet. Unfortunately, I don't have calipers with me. I do have some out in my building, but it's like 20 degrees outside. I'm not going out there. I need to get them in here so I can do some thickness measurement for you guys. But it's saying on their website that the handle thickness, and I don't know if this is measured at the actual handle itself or at the lock. I'm assuming it's at the handle itself, but either way, the thickness variations, you're going to be able to tell the difference, and that this the Corgi is indeed thinner all the way around. So your Corgi, you're looking at 0.49 inches. The Ankylo, which is the largest in the series, is 0.563, and then the shilling cutter is 0.510. So it is considerably thinner. You can definitely see that in the profile here. You can really see it when held next to the Ankylo. We'll get up a little closer here so you guys can see it a little bit better. Let's get a little more of a zoom here. So there you can see that thickness profile between the Corgi V and the Ankylo, and then the little less of a difference, but you can still notice a bit of a difference there between the shilling cutter and the Corgi V. Now these are currently available. You're looking at $80, 14C and aluminum. The 2 that are available on White Mountain Knives there's one available still on Vosteed's website, and then the same one is available on White Mountain Knives. Now I do have an affiliate with Vosteed. You guys are more than welcome to click that. However, I'm going to steer you guys towards White Mountain Knives because they have the same variant, and you can save 10% using whatever creator code you want to use. But they have the silver and satin version, as well as the total blacked out version, are both currently available on White Mountain Knives. as I'm filming this. Of course, that is subject to change depending on when you're seeing this. But again, this is going live Christmas Day, and I'm filming it at 1 o'clock in the morning. So if you're seeing it within the next couple of days, I'm sure it will still be available. So let's go ahead and jump into this knife. Go ahead and get into the close-ups, and then we'll go over and talk about all the specifics and some of the things I like and don't like, and then also go into a quick disassembly of this guy as well. So really, really nice blue on this. It's got a kind of a metallic sheen to it. Now, one thing you cannot see, but you can feel, and let's see, is the coating, the anodizing on the aluminum is really grippy. It's different than what they've used on any of their other versions. So you can see here it's a little more of a matte shine, and then versus the purple on the shilling cutter, and even the same on the ankylote. Even though it's still a matte, it's, I don't know if you can hear the difference if the mic will pick it up, but they're using a different anodization process on this aluminum. It's got a completely different feel. It's really, really, really nice. Completely open construction, no standoffs or anything like that. Here is your one single standoff. So you can see that is a fairly beefy structural standoff there, and it ties in. You can see that there, it ties in on the back side. So your pocket clip screw is going into that, and then this also has a screw hole there, so you can see it has an access hole there at the top to get to that screw, but your pocket clip screw holds that in, and then the other pocket clip screw actually goes into the lock bar. But again, really cool work here. Of course, perfectly centered. And then your opening mechanisms, you've got the wheel. They call it the wheeler. So you have the wheel here, and then you have the front flipper. Now the front flipper, because of how they had to do the detent, tune the detent for this, the front flipper is more of a slow roll, kind of a gentleman's opening mechanism on this knife, because the flipper is phenomenal. It's definitely tuned for that, the wheel, but we'll talk about that again here in just a little bit. We've got a black wash blade, typical Vosteed branding. You got the 14C. Really, really nice plunge grind. Plunge grind terminates very quickly. Nice sharpening area, sharpening choil. The sharpening itself looks to be good. Let's check that tip. Tip looks to be good. Let's check the centering on the tip. Looks great there. You can look inside here and see that. Well, let's see. Are we going to be able to see it? There we are. So you can see that locking lug. So we talk about these locks being extremely robust. So you have a very strong locking lug there. It's just a solid chunk of steel locking in on all 3 of the 4 sides, locking into that. So very cool. And then there's no internal springs or anything like that. It actually, the button uses that locking lug as its spring. So, and then when it's closed and that lug is down, it uses the magnet inside the button to keep the button recessed, so the button's not flopping around. It uses a very strong magnet in there. But very, very cool design. We'll go ahead and open this thing up, show you guys that. But what I was saying on the detent, so part of what I think makes this the most, the smoothest Vanker lock is also that detent strength. So one thing you have to realize, especially even on something like this, where you've got a really nice solid detent, because of how this knife is designed, it does have a legitimate detent. But part of that strength on that detent is thanks to the leaf, the leaf spring in there that's actually doing the locking. That's why when you see, even when you let it down, it's not that it doesn't have a smooth action. It has a very smooth action. It's just it uses a very heavy spring in there on that lock bar. And that's what causes it to have a little bit of drag. Now, again, they worked on that a little bit with the shilling cutter. So the shilling cutter has even a slightly better action. Again, still free spinning, but it has a little more of a drop or shut action, a little easier to deploy, a little more reliable, I guess you'll say. And again, this is their second iteration, and then they've refined it even more here and it's just absolutely the smoothest and easiest to operate Vanker lock yet. But again, I think that detent strength has a little bit to do with it. So when you're doing the slow roll here, or when you're trying to do the front flipper, you can certainly do it. It's just it lends itself more to a slow roll than it does to an actual flick out, and I actually like that. So if I'm just getting the knife out, whatever, I don't want to make a lot of noise or anything like that, I can just slow roll it like that with my finger, just really easy. It takes zero effort at all to slow roll this knife. But if you want to get on that flipper, and it makes a heck of a racket. It just thuds out there. I love that. Has a great sound, great fidgetability, especially when you get the timing right. You can just sit here and fidget with this thing all day long. My wife has actually stole this knife from me. I need to get with UA and see when they plan on releasing another round of these blue ones, because I got to get another blue one. Because like I said, she has pretty much claimed this knife. I was like, well, we can share it, and she's like, no, this is my knife. We're not sharing anything. This is my knife. Alrighty, so it looks like I've got to get one of these, which is fine. I'll gladly get another one. So, yeah, let's go ahead and break into this thing. Now, it should be T6 hardware all the way around on this guy, because the pocket clip will be a T6, and then of course the little set screws in here will be a T6 as well. So I'm going to just go ahead and remove the screw that holds everything together. So we're just going to go ahead and take this top screw out here on the pocket clip. And then, why am I using that? Let's go ahead and switch to my actual bit driver. So I haven't had this thing apart. I have carried it a few days. More than a few days. I've carried it quite a bit, actually. And it's, like I said, it's been really, really, really fun to play with, and has proven to be quite the little slicer as well. Came, of course, razor sharp, as Vosteed does. Let me go ahead and get this little guy out of here. Camo. What are you doing, Brian? You got a plastic little pry thingy right here. Don't be screwing up your bits. Yeah, well, I'll get it out here in just a second. So this should, in theory, lift off of here. All right, so just took a little bit of prying. Looks like this pin here is a little seized in there, but that's all right. There we can see the inner workings of this guy. Now I am going to do my best to get this little pin out of here. Well, doesn't look like I'm getting that pin out, which is fine. So they've got this constructed slightly different, but you can still see the magnet in here. The way it's working, you've got the magnet. Sorry, I'm sitting there looking at it myself. So you've got the magnet inside the button. You have your locking bar here with your detent ball. And now on previous versions, at least on this version, the ring was integrated with the chassis on the inside. The scales were separated. I don't know if they did it this way on this one, on the Ankelo, or excuse me, on the shilling cutter or not. But here they have this ring actually screwed in from the back side into, okay, no, never mind. Okay, yeah, so it is. So on these you have the external screws that go in inside onto the chassis. So on this one you don't have those external screws, so it's screwed internally to the scales. And I'm wondering if loosening that internal screw, which seems like it might be a T8 on the inside there. Nope, it's a T6. Got a lot of slop for a T6. Let's see how this one does. This one's a little bit better. See, I wonder if loosening that screw will loosen this up any. Does that move around maybe? Nope. Man, I really don't like having that in there like that. There we go. So I was able to get that pulled out of there. The machining tolerances are a little tight on this guy, which, you know, I'm cool with. It's whatever. I just like them to be a little bit easier to get in and out, to get this thing apart for maintenance. But again, I'm not really going to be doing that a whole lot. And then you've got your. They actually went with. Can't think of the word here, but they actually went with the plastic washers on this guy. Of course, they always use a little bit of grease, which is fine. No big deal there. And then the blade itself, again, is a little bit of a tight fit. Then you have your second set of bearings back here. And like I said, I have been carrying this thing, so yeah. So there's your button actuation. You got your chassis in here. And your blade just slides back over. And it's got a really nice fit on here. Again, really impressed with fit and finish on these guys. Again, the tolerances are pretty damn snug. But again, there is your leaf spring. And now you can adjust that detent a little bit if you want to. So just like you would normally. And I'm actually going to see if I can do that a little bit here. So I just kind of look and see it where it's process or where it's sitting at. I'm just going to crank it in just a little bit. I don't want to do much, just enough to get it to move a hair. There we go. All right, now I am going to put just a little bit, and I'll just use some of this oil that's already in the knife on these pieces here and slide them back in. So that is your stop pin. Let's go ahead and slide that back together. Now, is that piece built in? No, it's not built in, so it is removable. The smile, so to speak, is a removable piece. Let's go ahead and close this blade so I'm not in danger of stabbing myself. And make sure we're lined up. Now this is, again, it's going to be a little tricky going together because of that tight tolerance on that pin. But once everything's lined up, I'm going to go ahead and get my little trusty plastic hammer here. Cover her up with a little cloth. All right, that should be good there. Go ahead and put some screws back in this thing. So again, those tolerances on that pin will probably wear in over time, and you know, you'll probably have less of a hard time getting that taken care of after a little while. Alright, so functionally we are still good. Just want to check that before proceeding too far. Now these screws here on the Vankerlock knives are essentially your pivot screw. So just keep that in mind, that you do not want these cranked down just like you don't want to crank down your pivot screw. So just be wary of that. Just adjust them slightly like you would adjust your pivot screw. Still back to center. Little tight on the screws here, so I'm just going to back them up just a hair. Oh, whoa, oh my goodness. Earthquake. Man, I knocked that way out of whack, didn't I? Good Lord. I had an itch on my nose. I went to scratch it and smack the hell out of the camera. There we go. Back to 100%, and I didn't make much of a change on that detent, but it is slightly better for the front flip, and it is still very doable for the little wheel flipper here. So I think I will just leave it be for right now. I won't mess with it anymore. It's not really something I'm too awful concerned about. It's just it was just kind of just a test to see if it was even something that would work. Being it's the first time I've tried to do that with any of the Vankerlock models. So yeah, pretty fun knife. I really enjoy the Vankerlock series, and I really am, for lack of a better word, really proud of what Vosteed's been doing. They've been knocking it out of the park here recently. They've been stepping up their game, which, I mean, a lot of the manufacturers have been doing the same thing. These guys are not sleeping on their laurels. Vosteed, Concept, Kubi, Kaiser's come out with some good stuff here recently too. Now they've been doing a lot of the same thing here lately, so hopefully they are, from what I understand, they are coming out with some really awesome stuff at the beginning of 2025. And another one to look out for is Tuya. Tuya has some pretty cool stuff coming down the pipeline as well. They just tonight or last night, whatever, released a new knife, and then they also released some new versions of the Wolf. So I've got one of those coming, so keep an eye out for that. All right, guys, well, that's it for this one. I hope everybody has an amazing Christmas. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Please remember to be kind, be humble, and be EDC. Y'all take care.